Hello and welcome to, or welcome back to, River Styx Media. It's that time of the month again. It's time for the monthly book review, and for August we are reviewing Game Wizards, the epic battle for Dungeons and Dragons by Jon Peterson. This was an eye-opener for Dungeons and Dragons, and if you're a D&D fan, if you want to know the history of D&D and how it really, Gygax and TSR really didn't have much faith that it would be a thing. And at one point in it, right at the beginning, when they first came up with the idea for D&D, they only figured it would make them $300, which back in the 70s, they considered a lot. And it ended up making them millions. Now, this goes through the history of the business and how it really shouldn't have worked, but it did, and it goes over the rivalry between Arneson and Gygax and goes into that. It was interesting. It was an eye-opener, and I have yet to play D&D, and I want to, hopefully this year, but yeah, I wanted to read about the history of the game and the history of how it was marketed, and this is definitely the book that covers that. It basically goes over the rumors and the history, and like both sides have their version of the truth. This looks at both sides and basically gives you a informed. It basically informs you that both sides thought that they were in the right, and meanwhile, like it was basically, I think they described it as a war between Arneson and Gygax, and it really paints a picture that Gygax was a bit of a dictator when it came to the company, and if you weren't doing it his way, he didn't want you. He was not very flexible with some things. Other things he was, but when it came to rules for the games, he often would rewrite them to the point that he would then claim credit, which to me is not cool. But when they started coming out with Advanced D&D, that's when he basically cut Arneson out. But I'm not going to get into that. It was interesting to read, and it was interesting knowing the history of the game and knowing just what all went down, how everything happened the way that it happened, and I didn't realize that it wasn't until the early 2000s that Wizards of the Coast bought TSR, and I think they kept TSR as sort of like a publishing company, and then it just got absorbed into WotC, and that's the rest we already know. So it was interesting to read. I recommend it if you want to know the history of D&D, if you want to know just how it progressed over the years from the early to mid 70s up until I think the mid to late 80s is when the business really started floundering, and they had to have somebody buy the business, and that ended up being Wizards of the Coast. So I recommend it. The cover looks beautiful. You've got the 20-sided die. I believe that's 20-sided die. Pretty sure that's 20-sided die. You've got Arneson and Gygax. I'm honestly not sure which one. I know one's one and the other one's, I think this is supposed to be Gygax and this is supposed to be Arneson. The back is just pretty plain. But yeah, like I recommend it if you're a D&D fan, if you want to know the history of the game and you want to know to me it's not based off rumors. It's the guy has done his research, and I believe most of the back, like it's I think 400 some odd pages, and like that much of the book is sources and acknowledgments, and like that's all sources. So the author definitely did his research, and yeah, like Jon Peterson definitely did his research, and it's not based off rumors, or if it is, he actually went and he looked up and did the research and chased down all the leads and righted any rumors, put any rumors to rest. So yeah, like it's one of the better books that I've read this year, and I highly recommend it if you want to know the history of it, if you want to know just what the whole satanic panic thing was. It's in here, and it's not it was very blown out of way too much proportion than it should have been, and it's because of the nature of the game, and yeah, and even to this day they're still dealing with that. So yeah, I definitely recommend Game Wizards, the Epic Battle for Dungeons and Dragons by Jon Peterson. If you want to know the history of the game, you want to know the history of the business and how they really didn't have much faith when they started marketing D&D. And it, honestly, D&D originally did not have dice. Did not have dice. It literally was just a booklet of rules. That was it. That's all D&D was. And a lot of it was math without dice. And look at it now. You've got starter sets that include the dice and mini adventure, like a starter adventure, and you've got pre-printed sheets. That you didn't get that when they first came out with it. So like it has come a long way, but yeah, like TSR is gone. They got absorbed into Wizards of the Coast, and unfortunately a lot of the modules that they've come back out with Dragonlance, but all the novels that were fleshed out that world, done. Wizards of the Coast basically abandoned that. So yeah, like, if you want to know the history, definitely pick this up. And as always, if there's any books you want me to check out, be sure to leave a comment down below. Be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, all that fun stuff. It all gets the video out there. If I have the books that you guys recommend, if I have them, I'll set them aside. If I don't have them, I'll see about getting them. And we'll see you next month.